All right, back in the next day. Well, the foam is all set up, and obviously it's ugly. But we're gonna go ahead and carve that to the shape that we're looking for. Before we do so, go ahead and get an idea of this is basically just the width of what everything should be. It's not going to be the shape. The last upload you guys got to see, I feel like after I watched it, it was probably kind of confusing. And I mean, obviously this shelf here doesn't curve, you know, it doesn't go with the bumper. And there was a reason for that. I just added a little bit of foam up on top. I was just a little bit short, but by adding extra, I'm able to carve into it and basically, you know, acquire the shape that I'm looking for. Now, before we do so, we're going to do a little further explanation of what we are trying to achieve here. That way you guys can get a broader idea of where we're going with this.
All right, it's time for some explanation. Well, the car was dropped off to me, and with the car, it had David Higgins' front bumper. It had Travis Pastrana's front fenders and Buppy Lassic's side skirts. So I was told, get them on there. And it ended up being quite the challenge. It wasn't something that was able to be bolted on. I had to make a lot of brackets and a lot of actual mounting tabs themselves because the parts themselves really were not manageable. So with that said, I was able to achieve very nice lines and gaps throughout the car. There was a lot of plastic repair done in the front bumper, as well as some modifications throughout the fenders and the side skirts as well. But moving along, obviously you can see that the rear of the car was not finished. We actually finished it off with the fender flares, which were provided by HT Auto in UK. Well, the internet did not like that. They kind of looked at it like it didn't match or flow with the front WRC kit. So with that said, the direction had to be changed. And I'll be honest, I honestly didn't like the way they looked either. So in all reality, I really want them to mimic the actual kit itself. But that kit or that rear quarter panel, excuse me, does not exist. So with that said, this is what the whole car is supposed to look like. Right here, that's Travis's car. Those are the fenders that are literally sitting on this car right now. That's why the livery looks exactly the same, because that is the car. We have those fenders. But those are the quarter panels that we need. And we can't get those because they're not going to cut them off Travis's car, let alone any other rally car. So with that said, guys, I think you have a broader understanding of the idea of where we're going and the direction we're going with this build. Look at that. I mean, yeah, let's do it.
All right, so I'm sure you have a better idea now of where we're trying to go with this. We want that Travis Pastrana fender to match the Travis Pastrana rear quarter panel. It is the same matching style that is supposed to be on that car. So we're going to go with that. We're not going to put two different styles on here. On my last upload, I probably, after I watched it, I know it was confusing because I ended up putting this picture up and it's just poor reference on what we were going with. I kind of wanted to just show that it was, basically around like the side skirt area is what we were kind of going with. And I probably should have elaborated more, but I didn't. So obviously, I watch my own channel. I want to make sure that it actually looks good. So I went back, checked it out, and it even confused myself. So now I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the correct manner of, obviously the shape that we're going with. There's not going to be any hard lines. We don't have to worry about hard lines. That's not going to be there. I did have a nice curvature. You can still kind of see the line here and whatnot. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to carve into the actual bumper here, which is the reason why I added foam on this corner. I should have elaborated why I did that, and I didn't elaborate. And that's the main reason why is I just want to be able to carve into it. That way we can get a nice even flow. And then all of this stuff basically gets bubbled out, and has a nice big bubble flare or nice hips and whatnot. And it transitions very nicely into the bumper, still resides and still keeps all of the body lines, etc. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that today and then go from there. I've basically got the basic shape that I'm looking for, which is really nice. Now I can actually start taking all this out and start curving all this. So we're going to do a lot of cutting in this area and then just kind of morph it into a nice shape today. Today is going to be a huge transition. I feel like I probably have, like I said earlier, I should have elaborated more where I was going with this. And it's a little deceiving at first because it's just a foam block attached to a car right now. And you can kind of see the general shape, but because it takes so long to even get to this point, I've really got to think about every step, because once I cut the foam off, I either have to put it back on with foam and wait another day for it to set up, or be here all night until I'm ready to carve into it, until it's set up again. So that's basically where we're at right now with explanation. And, if I confuse myself, I imagine I probably confused a few viewers. right, so I stopped so that I could fill some voids in. Went ahead and sprayed some foam in a couple of these areas. That way it's going to help later on down the road, especially like all these edges, etc. You know, all the big holes and voids and whatnot. You want to fill those in so that it's a lot less later on down the road, but you get the idea. You know, it's all rounded. Everything's nice and round. Got that bubble shape like it's supposed to have. You know, that bubble, and then still have that nice rake right down to the actual stock body line. It's kind of hard to see it with foam, but you can see the line there. Pretty nice. So far I've basically gotten from here up to about here is about finished. And then now I'm going to start really working and transitioning. I've already cut out all of this foam here and transitioned this into the rear bumper overlay. So we're going to go ahead and start carving that in and getting it more round, more symmetrical, etc. Start slimming it out, but we got to let this foam set up for a little bit. So got a little bit before we can do that. So come back to the bumper. Everything's all dry now. The next day, nice and hard, super duper rigid. This is awesome. So now I can just go through and start trimming everything up, and then I'll re-drill the holes and whatnot, get everything perfect. I'm really happy with this. Everything is really rigid, you know, especially down here on the bottom, especially, you know, getting rid of all those holes and whatnot is awesome. So next, we'll jump on the bottom of the fenders here. We've got to get this gap filled, and in order to do so, we're going to have to do a plastic repair. So it's time to pull this fender off, as well as the other side, and get that ready to go. But before I can do so, I actually ran out of the plastic repair that I need. So this was my last tube right here. I'm a little upset with myself, but now I'm going to have to go to the auto body shop, supply store, get some more. It's not cheap. It's about $65 a tube, depending on who you go through. I've paid $75 before just to actually get it that day, but it was like a Napa, so it wasn't something that they commonly sell. It was just they had it in stock and probably been sitting on the shelf forever. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to run to the auto body store. It's towards the end of the day anyway, so that's probably going to be my day today, and then we'll just kick it tomorrow and see how it goes from there. So I'll see you tomorrow. Well, welcome back, everybody. It is the next day. Tried making it to the auto body supply store last night, and they closed early on me. Frickers. Well, that was a wasted trip yesterday. That kind of sucked. I was trying to get back in time so that I could get the materials I needed. So I hit them up early this morning, and I got them done. Now I'm on my way to work. And yeah, it should be a pretty good productive day today. It's been quite the project, and if you haven't already gone back and checked out the Vermont SportsCar project up to date, go back and check out part 1 so that you can bring yourself up to where we are now. It's been fun. It's been a lot of work, and to me, it's been worth it. And the only way I can explain this project, I'm gonna cuss, so I'm gonna warn you, it's fucking epic. So that's really the best way to explain this build. It's one of those things where it being what it is and having the heritage that it has with all the rally parts and all the parts that are getting put on it, all the custom made parts, etc. It's awesome. So definitely something to go back and check out. All right, so real quick, Colors is the company that I actually go through for my auto body supply. A lot of people don't have Colors, and we're lucky because we do. They're located here in Binghamton, which is really nice. So I had to drive all the way back to where I live. I actually live in Binghamton, and my shop is in Groton, which is, you know, where I'm heading now, as you can see. So I'm going to give you guys an idea of what it usually costs for these materials. The 15-minute adhesive, you know, the two-part promotion is normally around $65. They give me, you know, $10 off, etc. You know, they give me a pretty good discount, so I don't have to pay, you know, full price for these parts. Here are your part numbers if you guys are looking for part numbers. The 3/4 inch sleeve tape is actually my favorite. It's 3M yellow wax coated. This is the best tape on the market, guys. You're never, ever going to beat a 3M product. That's just the way it works, especially when it comes to tape. If you're going to buy, you know, we'll just say this, they are the best tape on the market. 3M has killed it, and they've basically destroyed that market for years, and nobody's ever going to beat them. This is the Norton 2-part 15-minute adhesive that I use for my plastic repairs. Sorry, I'm driving down the road, give you guys a better idea. This is something that I'm just trying to speed up this upload so that when I get to work, I can just start getting, going to town on this Vermont SportsCar. And that's those two. They normally, like I said, they're 65 bucks a piece. I get a discount, so I get them around 55, 56 bucks, 10 bucks off. The other sleeve there is the 3/4 or the quarter inch, and yeah, that is a 3/4 inch sleeve, and then this sleeve here is the 1.5 inches. So if you guys are wondering what sizes those are the actual normal sizes that I normally buy, just for the sheer fact that they are most common in this auto body world. You're not having to use a lot of 3/4 inch rolls. You can just move on to a much wider piece of tape for more surface and coverage. And not just that, it helps with a lot of other things as well. So with that said, this is basically the day. It's a $225 day for me. And really it was more than that. I had to stop off to Harbor Freight and pick up a roll of their actual plastic wrap. They sell it in the 2-foot rolls, which is really nice. Oh, get that. So there you go. It's huge, so, and there's a lot of it. This stuff lasts forever, and that's why I buy it there. It's because it lasts so long. So that there is 30 bucks, $30 for that roll, and it's way worth it. I used to go and buy cellophane or plastic wrap at the grocery store just because it was the cheapest option and basically the same thing. And in all reality, this stuff is a lot thicker and made for wrapping engine parts. So it's definitely a must to buy something that works. Let's get real. Nobody wants to spend a lot of money on something that is going to do the same thing as the cheaper product is going to do. So do your research, find out what's going to work in the proper budget that you're looking for. Now, yes, there are more expensive materials, there are more expensive items that you can purchase that will do literally the same thing. Now, you may have to work less because you spent more. That's nice. But I'd rather work a little harder and spend a lot less. I don't know about you, but I work for my money. So when people are trying to guilt you into telling you, oh man, you went to Harbor Freight? What'd you go there for? That's all cheap shit. You'd be surprised what you can get there. Actually, we'll say this, you'd be surprised how many big companies go there to buy materials. There's a reason for that. You'll pay attention to a lot of YouTubers or even bigwigs who all have Daytona Jacks, who come from Harbor Freight. Or you'll pay attention to their nitrile gloves, which are usually the black 9mm, which normally come from Harbor Freight. Or we'll say that plastic I got over there on the floor. I go to Harbor Freight to get it. There are things there that I wouldn't touch with my enemy's hands. No way. I wouldn't wish that on the worst person. They do have some cheap tools. Sure, they absolutely do. It is made for the guy to be able to go out and get the tool he needs, and if it breaks, no big deal. He can go back, swap it out that day, relatively cheap. No biggie. That's nice. So there are some ups, there are some downs, there are some negatives, there are some positives. There's not much you can do about Harbor Freight, but other than the fact that you can capitalize on the fact that there are some things in there that are just fine. So with that said, let's talk about the tools that are in Harbor Freight. They are moving their quality up. They have a new CEO now. A lot of people don't even know this now. They fired the old CEO and rehired a new CEO. This was via last year. He has been revamping and bringing new tools to the department, to the line of Harbor Freight, trying to vamp up the product and bring up the quality. Because everybody has always looked at Harbor Freight like it was a piece of shit tool store. And it's not. It's actually morphing into something better now. I mean, you can walk in there now and get digital torque spec wrenches now. It's great, something that you've never been able to see in there. And if it was in there, it was usually pretty cheap. It was garbage. They now added a few other lines, Bauer and a couple other ones as well. And they now sell TIGs, TIG welders, etc. They've really been stepping it up. And if you go back and watch YouTube videos on these TIGs, they're pretty damn nice, actually. They actually, the new one that just came out, I'm going to buy, because it comes with post flow and a whole bunch of other options as well that the other TIG didn't have, which means they're actually revamping and paying attention to what the consumers want and listening to what they need. You know, there's no strike start. You're not having to strike, you know, the tungsten to start, none of that stuff. So this thing is a very nice product, and it's something that I'm probably going to go out and buy. So good chance you're going to see a Harbor Freight welder on Romo Garage channel. And it's not made by Harbor Freight. It's made by another company, but again, I'm not going to elaborate on that. This is not a sponsored video. I'm not trying to talk up Harbor Freight, and I'm not trying to talk down any other big companies like Snap-on, Mac Tools, you know, SK Tools, or Matco, or whoever the hell your freaking choice is. That's fine. You can do you. You can spend a ton of money on something like that when I've already realized that my $250 Snap-on ratchet breaker bar was only a $20 rebuild kit. So I wanted to basically escape the Snap-on guy. I don't like these guys coming to my shop every single week, so they get paid off and told, don't fucking show up at my shop because I don't want to see you. I'll call you when I need you. That's just who I am. Sorry, I'm not going to get guilt tripped into buying something I don't need. I'm not that guy. Again, I use my brain. Something that I was born with, and I get to utilize that. It's pretty nice how that works. I will say this, though. Don't touch their jack stands. You're going to die. Well, after talking about Harbor Freight, I realized I actually forgot something. I had to go back and I had to get some acid brushes so that I could finish up on the plastic repair. I actually ran out of brushes as well. So this is a perfect instance to tell you right here for materials. Now, I needed this. This is something that I could have got at the auto body supply store, but chose not to because each brush is 75 cents each. This 36-piece pack here that you see, 36 brushes, was only $2.50. It's literally the same exact thing I would have bought and would have done the same exact job for 75 cents each. So if I were to buy this in an auto body chain, it's going to cost me about 30 bucks or more for 36 brushes. All right, well, it's another day, and you got to see yesterday that I did all the plugging of all the foam, etc., all the way around so that I can actually do the carving later on down the road. You know, you really want to fill all the heavy voids. It just makes it a lot easier. And then also when you're spraying this foam, make sure you're not going full right out. You don't want to pull the trigger completely for the sheer fact that you're just adding too much air to the foam itself. So you really want to just barely squeeze so that you can stack the foam on top of each other. You want less expansion as possible. The more expansion you get, the more air pockets and voids that you get. So what I'm going to do is today, now that I actually have some materials, I'm going to utilize my time and I'm going to get some plastic repair done. I want to be able to finish that up. I want to be able to get the fenders and the gaps all completely closed up because they're way too big and way too large. This car is going white, and those gaps are just going to be atrocious. You're just going to look at them. You know, they're going to be an eyesore. So with that said, let's jump on the plastic repair. Let's get that done. Plastic repair takes forever. So once I get it on and I get all that process done, then I got to wait all night, basically tomorrow, until I can actually touch it again because it's going to have to cure all night. So we'll do that, and then we'll move over to the foam, which also takes a long time. But in all reality, we're going to time-lapse that process anyway so that we can speed it up. You're not sitting here watching me during an 8-hour day. Having an 8-hour upload at that, nobody's ever going to watch that. All right, so I'll come over here and we'll grab what we got. Grab my gun. Palette. Probably better go grab some acid brushes real quick. Well, what do you think? I think it turned out amazing. I'm really happy with it, especially being able to achieve all those body lines. Looks really good. Super happy with it. So now we'll go ahead and move on to trimming up the foam. You know, it's towards the end of the day now, so sun's starting to go down. Tyler over here is doing his nice little project and getting things done. Getting that shelf out. We're trying to make a little bit more room for storing things, etc. You know, so it's always nice to be able to have room. Yeah, good things to come. So might as well trim this out, and then we can get this plastic repair done, and then it can, you know, basically set up overnight. As long as I have the energy to do so. It's already been a long time. So we'll see how this works out. Let's carve this out and see how much energy I got. Now, successfully made a nice foam spacer. Nice block. Got it all carved off perfectly so that I can actually separate these two parts, this fender and that side skirt, and I'll know exactly the proper space that I need to make a nice, perfect plastic repair. Same thing with this side. Made myself a really nice plug. Carved it all out. Nice square. Well, not necessarily square, but I turn the light on. There you go, you get a better idea. So, you know, nice little sheet. So now we can separate this, and I can actually have the proper space to do this, and it will be, you know, basically ideal. It'll be perfect. Then there won't be any gap. It'll be nice and tight, and I'll be able to get it looking right, just like the rest of the car. But from this view, wow, it looks so good. Looks great. I mean, I love it. So it's dark. It's getting late. I'm tired. I really don't want to get into stripping this thing down. It's just going to have to be another upload, obviously. So with that said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the content that I provided for you today. It has been quite the day. Today's been a good 12, 13-hour day already. So I got a lot of stuff done today. My back hurts. All right, well, with that said, guys, I'm Bill Schneider. This is Rumble Garage. I work on only cars with the stars. Subaru only. If you guys liked what you've seen, hit that like below. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell for that notification so you can know when Rumble Garage is going to have that next upload. Hope you guys have a good day.